All right, you guys, we're going to set the mood for you. Don't fall asleep on me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys who do not know, this is the one and the only, the awesome Dr. Stephen Reyes. And yes, I did confirm it is not Reyes, it's Reyes.
Long story.
He's Canadian, British, Irish, twice removed, second cousin, so that's why it's Reyes.
Just call me Dr. Steve, we're good.
Dr. Steve is usually what he goes by. So Dr. Steve's been involved in the weight loss industry since 2005, helping all of us out in post-op with the psychological aspect of what we go through after our weight loss surgery, as we all have been through that and continue to go through it. Even me, 20 years out, I'm still going through it. Dr. Reyes recently started a podcast this year in 2025. That is phenomenal. Also, if you do not know, he does have a book called Living the Code. This is actually the workbook. He has a book called Living the Code with a workbook. I'm sure he'll talk on it. I hope he's going to talk on it. If not, I'm going to feel like an idiot if I'm
Like, I don't promote, so.
He does have it on his, if he's not going to promote it, I'm going to promote it. He does have it at his booth over there, so you guys check it out and talk to him about it. So without any further ado, I turn it over to Dr. Steve.
Cool.
So
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
And if you did not get a ticket, raise your hand. I'll give you a ticket. We have a drawing at the end of this event that's specifically just for this event. So
Cool.
It's all you, bud.
Excellent. All right, you guys, good to see you. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties. We got through it. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you guys so much, all that. I want to change the vibe in here, so if you all could stand up real quickly. Turn to your neighbor. I've done this before. You probably know what I'm going to do. And just pay them a compliment. I love this idea, by the way. Like all this. I'm like, true. I'm like, yeah. It's awesome. Good idea. You look marvelous.
Oh, thank you. How you doing? I recognized you.
All right, not too many compliments, you guys. Come on. I don't want to,
You're amazing.
Right? All right, thank you for that, you guys. And I like to say, whenever we give a compliment, that's the best way to elevate two people, right? Because it feels good, and you guys know part of the weight loss surgery, journey is so important for each and every one of you guys to learn how to accept validation. I'm big on that, and sometimes it feels funny, a little awkward, and you know what? Just acknowledge it, just say thank you. So take that with you going forward. If someone gives you validation, affirmation, you acknowledge it, thank you. You don't have to reciprocate. If you want to, that's great. You don't have to, but get better at that. Really important, all right? All right, you guys, so they asked me, this was not my idea this year, they asked me to do this particular topic. And so they entitled it called Rewriting the Story, Healing from Weight Stigma. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna look at the overview of how prevalent it is as far as the population, and then we're gonna get really specific because I want you guys to walk out of here, whatever your life experience is, my take is that doesn't have to define us. And those of you who know me, I'm big on overcoming. I believe in the underdogs in life. If you know my history, I was an underdog. I overcame like a lot of things you'd never know about me or probably guess as far as that goes. But I love that about life. And so I want to encourage you, empower you, educate you this afternoon to not only establish your self-care, but maintain it in the long run. All right? So we're going to get into this thing. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. I'm sorry?
Can you speak a little louder?
I can't.
Sorry.
No, we don't have anything for the mic.
Yeah, I don't get a mic either. All right. So you guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's important, like whoever you follow, as far as, getting good information, they're sound and good in what they do. I can consider myself one of those people. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you can put your phone up there, your camera, it'll lead you to Instagram, follow us or whatever for all the information, all the updates of what we have coming in the coming year and all the things we have going on. This will keep you plugged in to that. And just so you guys know, what's this doing? Oh gosh, this is, there we go. All right, Anyone know, this is totally different what I'm used to here. Anyone know how to stop it and just do it manually?
Press the escape button in the left-hand corner.
What?
Yes, I think it is.
But it's different than what I'm used to.
You know what? Yeah. Mike's a professional PowerPoint.
Is that manual now? No.
Let this escape out of there. Be here.
No, Carrie gave me what you tried to do right now. I mean, better.
Is that what you want to do? You want the dog?
So what do I hit? I can't use the space bar?
Oh, you can hit, no.
Well, that's what I was doing. But well, it was doing it automatically on its own.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Dog camera. No options. Transition. Did you want it to cycle through?
No.
Oh.
No, just to control it manually, like normal. Like this is totally foreign to me.
So just pause it there. So you're paused. So if you want to go over there, okay, because I paused the running time right here. Okay, so you shouldn't
So when he wants to go forward, what does he do?
just go like, bam. You can just do it manually.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And it won't run automatically.
Okay, cool. Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, that's slide 2, right? You want slide 2?
I'm sorry?
You want slide 2?
Yes, field
Okay.
curiosity.
Right, yeah, cool, thank you. All right, guys, sorry about that. So I wasn't able to use my stuff today, so this is a little foreign to me. Okay, that being said, yeah, it's. Hey, Mike, can you help me? Sorry, guys.
Mike, let's take a Mike here.
I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize for this.
Turn it around and then.
I'll just run for you. Just let me know.
Well, I want to do it. How do we take it off of automatic?
Okay, automatic. It is off. It is automatic.
No, it's not. It's running on its own. I'm not doing anything.
Leave it under the table and forget it.
It's running on its own. Oh, there it is. I'm going to end the slideshow. And transition.
No, that's.
It's supposed to be on mouse click.
That's a cute picture. Oh, that's
Okay, so you're good there. Because you've checked mouse click only to minutes.
I didn't click anything.
Oh, okay.
This isn't my computer.
Oh, this is in your
No.
computer? Take that off. Setting.
Okay, I think you got it.
Go back on that one.
And can I do the space bar or not? Okay.
I'll stay here just in case there's an issue.
Okay.
You shouldn't know.
All right, I think we're back into business. All right, Sean gave a. All right, y'all with me? So sorry I can't speak louder, you guys. So I don't speak loud anyway. So hopefully you can bear with me on this. So all right, goes this is opposite of what I'm used to. Sheesh. All right, guys. So Sean gave an introduction. This is my background as far as that goes. So we're going to get into defining weight stigma. So I really want you to think about that, what this means, because there's some interchangeable definitions and terms that we're used to hearing, and they're kind of used interchangeably depending on, what things you're reading. So I want to clarify exactly what weight stigma means. All right. So
Hit the down arrow.
it's this one. All right.
There you go.
So weight stigma refers to the discriminatory acts and ideologies targeted towards individuals because of their weight and size. Weight stigma is the result of weight bias. And that's according to World Obesity website. This one's a little more comprehensive. Weight stigma, also known as weight bias or weight-based discrimination, refers to the negative attitudes, beliefs, stereotypes, and discriminatory behaviors directed towards individuals based on their body weight and size. Weight stigma often targets individuals who are deemed to be in higher weight bodies, but it can affect people of all body sizes. And that's according to the National Eating Disorders Association. And I've actually spoke at one of their conferences before. Pretty cool, pretty neat. All right, so if you're confused about the weight bias, weight discrimination, and weight stigma, I think it's all the same. I don't know how you guys view that, but I think for purposes this afternoon, we're going to view it as the same thing. Just to clarify this, make it very simple for us. All right, so weight bias. Anyway, negative attitudes towards and beliefs about others because of their weight. Weight stigma, social stereotypes and misconceptions about people based on their weight. For example, thinking people living with obesity are lazy or lack willpower. Weight discrimination would be behavior towards those living with obesity, treating people with unfairly due to.
After they're all up there, and then you guys.
Oh, yeah, because you're physically blocking.
Actually,
Oh, I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Reyes,
Gosh,
You could physically take this with you.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh, much better. Okay. All right. I thought it was tight. Okay. So you got that? All right. On we go. All right. So where does weight stigma come from? All right. And this is probably going to ring true for you guys. So weight-based stereotypes coexist with the notion that weight is controllable and that achieving weight loss is attainable with sufficient effort. Historically, media has contributed to shaping societal norms about body weight and size. The thin ideal, as represented here, and glorifying thin bodies tends to reinforce that only a thin body is acceptable. The best known environmental contributor to the development of eating disorders is the sociocultural idealization of thinness. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about stereotypes, stigmas, and the uns. Now, hang with me because I really want to solidify exactly what this is, and then we're going to take it with this forward. I want to hear about your experience and then how we're going to counter this influence going forward in our daily lives, all right? So misperceptions, and you guys have heard this, include the misconception of laziness, lack of willpower, being unintelligent, unattractive, unhealthy, bad hygiene, lack of moral character. And it's funny, the resources that I've used, and there's a ton in my research, and they all listed these things. There's probably 6 or 7 actually, which is pretty interesting. So obviously the beliefs can manifest themselves in stigmatizing acts. People with obesity may experience negative verbal comments, teasing, bullying, and even physical assault, unfortunately. All right? And there's also what they call the subtle slights. These are people who kind of do the judgment with their body language or judgment with the eye rolling, that type of thing. That can take place too in our environment. That's another form of stigma. I call those the uns. Now the prevalence, and the research on this is pretty interesting because it's all over the map actually. So a great consensus says that more than 40% of American adults have experienced weight stigma at some point in their life. Some international studies report that about 58% have experienced it. Now, this is closer to our population working in the bariatric field. Up to 88% in a specific study of women in weight management programs report family-based stigma. And just so you guys know, family tends to be the number one resource or source of weight stigma coming from family, number one. All right? Okay, now we're gonna get in the nitty gritty here. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with me, hopefully you feel safe in here. Again, I'm all about experience, and I have a story, you have a story. Now, this is your opportunity, and I'm gonna ask you, only if you're comfortable in doing so, to kind of tell the crowd, tell the group today a little bit about your own experience as it pertains to weight stigma. All right, so we want to hear a little bit about your story here. All right, so can anyone recall an event, experience they had prior to having weight loss surgery that fell under weight stigma?
I'd gotten a new job as an extern when I became a medical assistant, and I was being introduced to the doctors. And just when you said about the look, he introduced and shook my hand. He then looked at me, looked down and back up, and kind of shrugged his shoulders. And he didn't even have to say he was displeased with my weight. It was all over his face.
And what was the setting again for this?
I was doing an extern as a medical assistant.
Okay.
It was a orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that did that.
So
even
medical office.
Medical office.
Okay.
Even in healthcare, you know what I mean. And it's after I never got past that with him. I liked the other doctors in there, but that was always a thing. It was I felt discriminated against because he didn't even want to know me. It's that look with you're overweight, you're going to be pointless to me. So.
Yeah, and that took place
In a medical
in medical. Yeah, and by the way, the number 2 is medical field. right? In the hospital settings, medical settings, that's number 2. Family number 1, medical number 2. Tricia, you got a story?
Yes, prior to surgery, I was at Disneyland, fell, and people just kept walking right past me. And then I went, after losing weight, I went back, fell again. And immediately, somebody ran over and said, let me help you, let me help you. Plus I had the stroller, so the kids went this way too. And immediately I kept saying, and my fat brain was going, there's no way you can help me. So he, literally got behind me, put his hands underneath my armpits, and boom, I was up. So, there again, nobody helped me when I needed help being fat. Once I lost the weight, more than one person was willing to run over and help me.
Okay, and that's a great before example. Did you guys hear about that? Were you able to hear her story?
Yeah.
So prior to surgery, when she was larger, she fell, no one would help her. Post-op, lost some weight, similar situation. People were there for her. Anyone else? Any other experiences you can, yeah.
So if you're talking about doctors, I went to the doctor because I was having foot pain, and he said, well, you're fat. And I was like, that's cool, but probably not going to get fixed by tomorrow.
Right.
So is there something else we could do? But
Yeah.
I ended up going to a different doctor and getting
Good.
cortisone shots and whatever,
Okay.
and it went away.
Okay.
Even though I was still fat.
Okay. Did y'all hear that? So Heather went to the doctor, feet pain, you're fat. Okay, now what? Like, what do we do next, right? The conversation. Heather did the right thing. What's that?
You're not telling me something I don't already know.
Yeah, right? Yeah, but Heather did the right thing in seeking another professional. She got out of there, which is good. That's her being her own advocate, which is really good. Any other stories anyone want to relay?
Well, as a professional, it was in an educational setting. I felt like a lot of times in department meetings or, when people speak up, I was bypassed, overlooked, I had nothing important and anything to contribute, And then after I had surgery, I was still working there and everything. There was just a different tone, people kind of looked you in the eye and listened to you. And it was and it was just such a mind twist. I'm like, when I was large, I was invisible, but now that I'm smaller, I'm seen. It was really opposite, just really weird. But it was something that I noticed. I was like, wow, that's interesting, but it tells you a lot about people.
Yeah, right? It does.
I'm just amazed at how different you get treated. It's just, kind of I would say the same, the way you're treated by people is way different. People don't want to help you, but when you're standing people open the doors for you, they hold, and I never had doors open personally for me. It was, doors weren't held open, but as soon as you lose the weight, they'll hold the door for you and oh, don't worry about rushing, just, whatever.
Yeah.
But, if you're not right by that door and you're heavy, they're like, whatever, so.
Yep.
Stuff like that, the way you're treated is way different.
Yeah, Kim, thank you for that. Yeah, that door opening thing I've heard a few times. I was talking to someone yesterday here in the lobby, getting acquainted, and we were talking about this topic and everything, and that's the ones that came up actually a couple times, was the whole door thing. Beforehand, doors would shut, in front of you or whatever. After, people will actually, make their time, effort to hold open. Yes?
So I grew up in a Hispanic Italian family, and my surgery was holiday season.
Yeah.
I had surgery in October. So I went back home for holiday, and when I was younger and heavier, it was don't eat that, you shouldn't eat that, don't eat that. And of course, for me, I wanted to eat double of what they're telling me. Don't eat it, you shouldn't have that. I'm gonna eat it. So self-sabotage, right?
Right.
So after surgery,
Yeah.
I go and I visit for, I think it was Christmas the first time I went. I didn't go for Thanksgiving because that's just scary. So I went and, I had the little plate that you set your teacup
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
That was my plate.
Yeah.
And appetizer fork.
Yeah.
And so it was a tablespoon of this, a tablespoon of that. And it was, aren't you going to eat anything? You should eat something. Oh my God, you look sick. You're too thin. So the opposite.
I know.
Of don't eat that, followed by you should eat something.
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's just interesting. I wish we could hear a lot more. Anyone else want to add anything else before we go on here? Steve, go ahead.
So I remember when my daughter's 13 now, but I remember when I dropped her off at kindergarten when she was 5. I could hear some of the kids behind me saying, "Wow, I never seen someone that fat before," and stuff. And I don't think my daughter heard, but I'm just thinking to myself, for me, it felt like crap. Right? I'm just thinking I'm dropping off my daughter. I don't know if they're saying this to her and stuff like that. So I was for me, like I just kept it to myself. Like I don't know, like if she's hearing that and stuff. So for me, that was like extra motivation for me.
Okay.
Kids could be kids, you know, but just like little things like that.
Yeah.
Little chatter and stuff. You know.
Yeah. No, and good response on your part, for making that motivation, fuel for you. I mean, that's a great response. Let me ask you, as a general poll, you guys, so prior to having weight loss surgery, how many of you in here, based on the definitions that we went over, how many of you feel that you've experienced at least one act of weight stigma prior to having surgery in here? Okay. More than 5? More than 10? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're closer with the 88% stat.
Every year?
What? Well, no, just in a lifetime. Okay. Okay, now this is what I'm really interested in, post-op. Okay, now you're on your health journey post-surgery. How many of you have experienced some form of weight bias, weight discrimination, weight stigma since having surgery? Okay, lower percentage, but still.
You're too thin or that you're still.
Well, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I've been told I'm too thin.
Yeah, and we're gonna go there.
Okay.
Yeah, I call that the two phenomenon, right? Yeah, too thin, too heavy, all that, yeah. And okay, so the post-op one, would you want to share yours?
Yeah, so like in the middle of my journey, I think, because I started at 333, and so yeah, sure, I lose 100 pounds, and I'm still morbidly obese. And so, but I've changed body composition, muscle, I'm running 5Ks, and then I still show up, and people are like, you're gonna run this? And so there's still look fat, because I still was, but, and so they felt like I still couldn't do, but I was so much healthier, but I still carried the weight.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I think what I've learned from people over the years from working with them, like after surgery, there's sometimes they get these, it's almost like that backhanded compliment type of thing, where, oh my gosh, you look so much better than before. Oh my gosh, your husband must be really pleased.
Yeah, that one I don't get.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, what does that say? Like our condition, our worth, our value is based on, right? Performance. It's based on that whole thing, unfortunately. So thank you guys for sharing that with me, all right? So we're gonna go on here and talk about how to counter some of these things. Maybe, if I can work this thing. All right, so the effects of weight stigma, as you guys can probably predict here. So weight bias can increase not only body dissatisfaction, but it's a leading risk factor in the development of eating disorders. So if you caught what she was saying earlier about being around her family, so she grew up in a Mexican-Italian family, right? Food's a huge component of that, right? A huge deal, and the things that she experienced. And what did you say? Your response was what? You ate more?
Yes, when it was, you shouldn't eat that.
Yeah, just cause it's almost like that taboo dynamic. You tell me I can't do it, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do it. Y'all were teenagers, right? I know at one point, you tell me not to do something, oh brother, yeah. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it well. Yeah, that's just how we roll. Right, Elsa? Yep. Yeah, so those are the effects, but isn't that interesting how that weight bias is one of the leading factors in the development of eating disorders, all right? And that includes binge eating and the anorexic side, both those, all right? So research consistently links these experiences to not only body dissatisfaction, and just so you guys know, with our population that we work with in bariatrics, the weight loss surgery world, their body dissatisfaction rates are 3 times greater than the general population in general, all right? So also depressive symptoms can develop, low self-esteem, unhealthy weight control measures such as binging, closet eating, sneak eating, that type of thing, and obviously, the array of emotional eating habits. All right, the effects also. So they may be attributable to self-blame and internalization of weight stigma. And for me, that's a biggie. That internalization thing, like whenever we internalize like our emotions, it always manifests itself in negative ways, you guys. It does. And some of us, if you're a people pleaser historically, chances are you're good about keeping your stuff into yourself because you don't want to upset others, you don't rock the boat as far as that goes. So, we have to work on that if that's part of our history. So, the other thing they point out too, all these things, there's detrimental effects on our mental health as well. And obviously, depression can result of these things, low self-esteem, and your like general sense of self, right? And you guys have heard me say over the years, Trisha's heard me say over the years, you know, one thing that's really important too, once we get on a journey, we have to believe that we're worth it. Because if we don't believe we're worth it, we're not going to take care of it. Because you know what? We take care of what matters. All the people in your life that matter to you, you take care of them. I guarantee you do. Guarantee you do. That standard needs to apply to us going forward. Otherwise, it won't stick, right? So the stigma, and this is the scary part, directing negative weight stereotypes towards themselves. And a big part of the population, a common thing with the population I've worked with over the years too, they're very, very self-critical. And when we practice that self-criticalness, basically what we're doing, we're giving us that bad message, you know, that we're not worth it, or we're going to doubt that we're worth it, you know, or you're not going to get this right, or we fall into those perfectionistic tendencies. Man, if I can't do this absolutely perfect, what's the point, right? We think that's a standard. And you all know on your journey, perfection is not what we're going for here. We're just going for progress, daily progress, you know, that mindset of progress, having that mindset, you know, in your life. All right, so the biggest threat here I want to address. All right, so yeah, all this weight stigma, and I like to use this term a lot, self-care, you guys. Like I think it applies to so many different things. You know, it's not only a physical self-care, it's our emotional self-care, it's our relational self-care, it's our spiritual self-care. I believe in all those things, you know. And when we're good at doing those things, life is a whole lot different for us. So weight stigma hinders, and I think you guys know by now, hinders rather than helps people achieve their health. But this is what I believe, because the people I've worked with over the years, my own personal history, and just so you guys know, like I've worked with a ton of different specialties over the years, not just weight loss surgery patients. I've worked with cancer patients. I've worked with abuse victims. I have a lot of specialties over the years. Every addict under the sun I've worked with, you know. And my thing is, you know, whatever life history we've been given, you know, it's up to us at some point to learn how to counter that. So as I see it, your response to your history is way more important than what's happened to you going forward, is what we do with it going forward. All right, so we're all affected by life events, but they don't have to define like who we are. All right, so I want to do this as a group, and I think I activated the automatic again. Maybe not.
No, you didn't.
I didn't? I'm good?
Yeah, you
Okay. So I want to do another group exercise with you guys. Yeah, I think. All right. So do you guys know what person-first language is? Have you heard of that term? No. All right, I'm going to teach you all if you're not familiar with it. So basically the difference is, I call it has versus is. Note the difference here. All right, John has obesity versus John is obese, right? You see the difference there? Okay, so repeat after me here. I have eyelashes. I am not eyelashes. Carol has toenails. I've seen them. Carol is not toenails. Thank you. Steve has bad breath. Steve is not. Yeah, well, I probably do by this time of day anyway. But you get my point, right? That's person-first language. And it's interesting how I will read medical articles and even bariatric articles where, you know, they're calling people obese. Not that they have obesity. You know, they'll describe them that they are obese, which is interesting. I'm like...
Doctor's notes always say, you know, 49 or 47-year-old obese woman.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's how it's described.
Yeah.
As an adjective.
Yeah. It's not woman with obesity.
No,
yeah, it's
obese.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Oh, the medical community, we got... Yeah, I need to talk to them next after this. All right. Okay, but you all get the person-first language, right? You understand how that works here? Yeah. You know, but it is. I mean, our language is really important, you guys. Like how we talk, what we say, how we communicate to others, you know, it makes a difference. You know, it really, really does. And especially in the healthcare setting, man, because we're doing a terrible job on this. You know, just a really terrible job. But so, you know, we need to change our language here. So speaking of health-focused care, that is universally applicable, I think is the better way to go. So I use terms like self-care and like wellness. Like if you guys, you know, read my book or, you know, my website stuff, those are the terms I usually use. Nutritious food choices versus diet. I hate the term diet. I've just always hated that. You know, I mean, the people who know me, I'll ask them, what do your macros look like? That's basically how I describe it. What do they look like these days? Are you hitting your protein values? That term diet,
Diet seems temporary.
I'm not big on it. What's that?
Diet seems temporary.
Exactly. Lifestyles are what last.
Right, the first 3 letters are die.
Yep, for sure. Yep. And then with a T. Yeah. Yeah, and also, and this is important too for all of us to remember, the causes of obesity are complex. The etiology of obesity is, diverse, man. There's biological components, genetic components, environmental, there's nature, and there's nurture. And I think, sometimes we forget that, and I definitely know the general population tends to forget that. Because if they knew this, if they really knew it and believed it, subscribed to it or whatever, I think our language would look much different as far as like how we're treated and how our interaction takes place. All right, so the two phenomenon, all right? So how many of you, after surgery, were told that you're too skinny at any point? Steve, what did you do with that first time you heard it?
Got pissed off.
You what?
I got pissed.
Yeah.
Got frustrated, annoyed.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do with that?
Skinny is a very negative term. If people said you were too thin,
Yeah.
it was softer to me.
Okay.
Skinny, I took as an insult.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that whole anything that follows too, it's probably not going to be a good, experience anyway. But bottom line is, and here's back to, who we are as people.
I liked you better 40 pounds ago.
Yeah.
Or you looked better.
Yeah.
You looked better 40 pounds ago.
Yeah.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
healthier though.
Well, yeah, but here's the other thing too, and you guys know this, and you may have heard me speak about this before. The body image adjustment, is not only a phenomenon experience for you to go through, but other people around you are going through this as well. The example I like to use too, let's say you have a nephew that's somewhere on the East Coast, you live on the West Coast, and last time you saw them, they were 7 years old. And then, you saw them like a year later. Well, we all know between ages 7 and 8, a lot can take place during that time. So you see your nephew, and say this is before social media, so you really haven't seen them, but you see your nephew for the first time in like a year, a lot can take place. What's gonna come out of your mouth? Oh my gosh, you've gotten so tall. You look so grown, like we say those things. Because the template, our last point of reference, was when our nephew was 7 years old. It's very similar to, whatever body you existed in prior to having surgery. There's gonna be friends, coworkers, people that template still exists in their brain. So if there were relatives you hadn't seen a while before surgery, and then there's a while after surgery before you saw them again, I'm sure they're pretty shocked.
Well, we do that to each other here too. We see each other mainly once
Yeah.
a year, and if someone is like newly post-op or pre-op, whatever, and you see them a year later, you're gonna say, "Wow, oh, you look so great. Oh, something," right?
Yeah.
Mostly positive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we do that to each other here too.
Yeah. Do you think it's different here because I would hope it's safer here, like experientially it'd come across different than maybe other contexts? Do you think that's true? Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Does it ever still feel weird despite the context, you guys? When someone pays you a compliment or acknowledges something, Kim? Yeah? Okay. And how far out are you now, Kim?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. Trish, is it still weird for you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Trish, how far out are you?
I'm 19 years out.
Yeah. Yeah. That body image adjustment, you guys, it's a process. It becomes a management thing over time. Hopefully in time you adjust to the reality of who you are. But again, that validation stuff, man, especially with your safe people, let it in. We need that stuff. It fuels us. We really need it. But this whole two phenomenon, and this is important to you guys because I know a lot of y'all, stop people pleasing. We got to be careful who we give our power to in our life, right? There should be, and I'm sorry, but there should be a small circle of who matter to us as far as like who we give our power to,
Absolutely.
right? And how many people are in your circle, Heather? 2? By the way, that's not. I don't think that's a circle technically.
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a people pleaser.
Well, no.
People pleaser offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my group of, there's like 5 besides me, so.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I like to go by the opinion of, if I don't respect your opinion, then I don't give a shit what you say about me, because I don't respect you anyways.
Yeah. No, but we do. We have to be careful about who we give our power to, in that way, guys. Otherwise, and you guys know, there's the people-pleasing thing. It's elusive. It goes on and on and on and on. And that a lot of that goes back to that whole performance-based value. And there may be times you've been frustrated in life. I've been frustrated in life, thinking, man, I just can't please anybody, right? And a lot of that has to do with other things, but that's another topic for another time. All right. So yeah, we can't please all the people all the time. Okay, so how do we help people with weight stigma? Ideally, I would want anyone who struggles with this is to seek professional support. A skilled therapist can help develop healthy coping mechanisms for self-defeating thoughts and negative beliefs. And this is what I'm really big on too, you guys. Like what we practice in our minds, the things we reinforce time and time again. And again, what I said earlier, it's important that we give ourselves, not only, self-compassion, self-love and all that, but we have an ongoing positive message to ourselves. Because if we continue to practice, old patterns of behavior that are self-defeating, that are negative, we're reinforcing that we're not worth it. And that's a bigger factor, I think, than what we realize as it pertains to sustaining our health. Support groups is another source that can help people. Connecting with others who have had similar experiences is really, really important. I think the empathic factor is so important, with connection, with community, to know that, oh my gosh, thank God I'm not the only one who's gone through that. There's a lot of value in that. That helps alleviate a lot of our stress when we discover that. All right? So counter these effects. This is the big one. And think about this. So we want to counter the effect, this bias against ourself and that self-blame. Body shame. It's a practice. It's a practice, and that's got to stop. Guilt. And most guilt, you guys, anyone who struggles with that, there's a book called, I believe the title is Imaginary Crimes. And it talks about that whole dynamic, like when we fall into, that whole trap of inappropriate guilt, playing that in our head, helps you counter that whole tendency if you have that. It's called Imaginary Crimes if you want to check that out. Anyway, so that guilt thing, that's something we need to work on. Criticalness, obviously. And so the first 4 here, if you think about it, these are all internal stuff that reside up here and things that we practice ourselves. All right, that's one part of the war we need to battle on or fight against is that. And then there's the external messages. And for the external messages, our environment, there's some things we can do about that as well. All right, but as it pertains to ourself, remember self-acceptance is an ongoing practice, you guys. It's an ongoing intentional practice. I like to say no good habit develops by accident. It has to be intentional, it has to be deliberate about doing things. All right, so we need to manage those intrusive thoughts. Practice telling yourself, I'm not going to engage in this. Change the message. So whenever you start to go down that self-critical alley, down that road, literally thought stop yourself, redirect and distract yourself from feeding that thought. Because some of us are really good at feeding that, and that doesn't help us at all. So redirect and distract. We need to become good at extinguishing these thoughts before they begin, and don't feed them. And that's a practice, you guys. And seriously, if you have to say out loud to yourself, no, I'm not going to think this right now, go away, whatever. Come up with your own little, motto to use. Like, practice that. And if people think you're crazy for talking to yourself out loud, let them think it. Remember, we don't care anymore. We're not people pleasers. We don't care. They don't matter, right? So look crazy. I'm encouraging you. All right, so your response to internalizing stigma. So using professional resources, and this is important in this day and age, you guys. And unfortunately, I think there's a trend in the therapy world, and I hate to say this against my own kind, but I think some professionals keep people in their distress a lot. And so in using professional resources, be on the lookout for this, you guys. A measure of your progress, whether you're with a therapist or like a coach, is going to be this. All right? If you're moving on from your history and not keeping you in the detrimental effects of it, they're probably doing something right. If a clinician is keeping you in your past, it's time to find someone new. Kind of what Heather was talking about with that doctor, right? What she experienced or whatever, she knew that, this ain't gonna work. I'm moving on and I'm gonna find someone else. The same thing applies to a professional therapist, counselor, or coach that you use. Our job as a therapist is to get ourselves fired, right? Once I do my job, help you with whatever's going on with your life, you gotta set boundaries, resolve some childhood issues, whatever the case may be or whatever, and I want you to fire me. I do, I want that, It's weird, but I want that. Our job is to get ourselves fired. I'm stuck here, hold on. There we go. All right, guys, so the COD, the code that it came up with, is in the book, if you guys haven't seen it. And it's commit, own, being deliberate, and engage. And so if we apply this to weight stigma and countering that, first of all, we have to resolve to practice self-validation and body kindness. Again, the message that you're giving yourself is going to help counter that, all right, internally. Own your part in internalizing and practicing that negative dialogue with yourself. Own your part in this. We can't control what other people do, how they treat us in the past as far as that goes, how people are going to treat us in the future, but we can control what takes place with us, right? And be deliberate and intentional about using your voice, right? She used her voice, right? Someone else gave an example of using their voice where, this is not acceptable to me. I'm going to move on. I'm going to find someone else. We need more of that. And that's okay. You don't owe them a detailed explanation. You don't owe them 50 reasons for, why you're doing what you're doing, but get good at using your voice. And engage in healthy behaviors with non-toxic people. That's a biggie, you guys. And if you're not familiar with the concept of boundaries, the classic book entitled Boundaries is great at helping you get on that road. It's really, really important. Because here's the deal. If we continue to allow the messages from non-toxic people to us, it's going to get in there. It's going to sneak in there, and that's going to interfere, as the research showed, with our self-care going forward. All right. And this is on the back of my book. If you guys want to read this out loud with me, that would be cool. But it's basically a commitment to yourself. So take the pledge with me. So I commit to self-care.
I commit to self-care.
Taking ownership of my life.
Taking ownership of my life.
Being deliberate in all things.
Being deliberate in all things.
By engaging in healthy behaviors.
By engaging in healthy behaviors.
Give yourself an applause. And that's my dog. She was supposed to appear in the beginning, but we got distracted. That's Rudy. She couldn't make it with me this year. Oops. Where'd it go? Oh, that's weird. Yeah. All right, guys. Q&A. Any questions? Comments? I have a comment. It's hot in here.
Nice.
Dude. And they give me the non-AC room.
I just want to say, if anybody else, the one place that I did tend to allow people or let it get to me was at a doctor's office, and I would find myself avoiding going to the doctor because I didn't want to get weighed before surgery and post-surgery. But do you know, unless you're going to the doctor for something that is specifically related to your weight, you do not have to step on the scale. And I started exercising that right and being like, no, thank you. I don't want to get weighed today because I would not eat before my appointments.
Right.
I wouldn't drink water before my appointments,
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to avoid that, I just took it out of the equation.
Wow. No, thank you for that. Well, and the scariest thing about that,
Offices have started putting little signs that say it, but
and the scariest thing about what Heather just said to me was that she would avoid going to the doctor, which is anti-self-care, right? I mean, how ironic is that? Because the experience that we're given in a doctor's office would prevent us from going back. A lot of irony there. Yeah. What?
She took ownership of her life.
Right? No, it is. Well, and using that voice. Yep. All right. Any other question, you guys? We move on. All right. Apologize again for our technical delays and it being so hot in here. Thank you for your patience. You guys were great. Have a great rest of the conference.
I mean, y'all can applause for.
Yeah. What?
Everybody has a ticket, right?
Yeah.